Hey guys, how's it going? Bdog here, coming at you with some good old Dead by Daylight. Well, I guess, I guess like a DBD commentary style video, if you will. But today what we're gonna like just kind of like talk about, like I just kind of like got some stuff like jotted down and just some, just some stuff that's kind of been like on my mind and whatnot. But today we're gonna talk about like some like balancing stuff, or at least kind of like in my opinion, I guess like the state of balancing, if you will. I really can't phrase it all in one, but yes, we'll kind of go over balancing, and I guess more so like my thoughts on like the balancing and whatnot. But before we go and hop right into it, guys, if you guys wouldn't mind, please go and hit the subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and hop right into it. Alright, so the first topic that I kind of want to like briefly, I guess, go over before we kind of get into like the meat of the video is, I guess, just kind of like how DBD has like changed over time. Like, not really, for, better or for worse. I mean, that's, to each their own. Like, there's no right or wrong answer. But it's interesting because, like, it, at least, like, back, I guess, with an older DBD, it seemed to be more of, like, I don't want to say, like, a casual game, but, like, more so, like, a party game, I guess, is, kind of, like, just like a game, where everyone just kind of has fun. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it seems that like DBD has kind of, I guess, gone like not necessarily like competitive, because I mean there's like no, competitive playlist or anything, but it almost kind of like has that feel to it at times, and it's just interesting after like playing DBD for, a long time, how it's just kind of, I guess, kind of like how like the feel of it has kind of changed. Because I mean, like, I really can't give you like an exact, start date or whatever, but I started playing a little bit before Michael Myers came out, and it's just interesting how it's kind of, I guess, changed over time, where it's kind of gone from, I guess, more so like, I guess just more so like where everybody's, just having fun, as where like now it just seems that it's kind of become a little bit more competitive, like, or like that type of feel to it. I don't know, that's just something that I just kind of like have been thinking about lately. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe like, you'll feel, differently than me. But let's actually go ahead and head into the into like the balancing portion. So in terms of balancing, it's a very, subjective thing. Like, once again, I really don't believe that there, is necessarily a right or a wrong answer, just because, every player is going to be different and everybody's got a different opinion. But I'm going to try to kind of go about this in a way where I don't really, lean towards, survivor or killer. Because, to be honest, I've played a pretty good amount of both. Like, I pretty much play a lot of survivor these days. But the one thing that I think that is always just very prevalent in DBD is, on both sides there's always going to be, some like some sort of BS. And there's really not a way to, I guess, really fix it, if that makes sense. So like what I mean is, like, for example, like the NOEDs, like, the adrenalines, like, made for this, like, so on and so forth, right? Like, there's no real fix to it, and they're just part of the game, where, you really can't stop someone from running NOED. I mean, yes, you can cancel it out if, you take out the totems, but then again, you're leaving, if someone has, like, Circle of Healing, for instance, or, like, Shadow Step, then, you kind of, like, mess that up. So, I mean, it's kind of like a gamble, I suppose. So with both sides, no matter what perk or changes, there's always going to be, some sort of imbalance, which I'll get to that in a bit, because I think that's going to be a very important part of this video. But there's always going to be some, just some cheap stuff on both sides. I mean, that's just how, like, gaming works. I mean, if you want, like, an example from, like, other games, like, take something like Call of Duty, for example. Like, not a lot of people enjoy, shotguns and sniper rifles, because, they're one-hit kills. But they're in the game and you can use them. So, I mean, if they're in there, I mean, why not, go ahead and use them? Which, like, that's kind of, like, my thought, I guess, in terms, with like NOED or adrenaline or, made for this. I mean, if it's there, you may as well use it. Like, I'm not like the biggest supporter of, NOED. But you know what, my thought process on it is, you know what, if it's there, you may as well just go ahead and use it. And also, real quick before we like, move on, I know like I was kind of like picking on like NOED and like adrenaline. Hey, to each their own. I mean, if you want to run, adrenaline or, NOED, I mean, hey, like it's your world. I'm just kind of, living in it. I mean, obviously there's like more perks, but those were just like the like, a couple that just popped in my head. But let's go ahead and go to our next topic. So the next thing that I kind of want to talk about, which like I think is pretty important, is in terms of I guess like how, one would go about, fixing the balance, if you will. Because I don't know if there's really a way to ever, fix the balance, if that makes sense. And the reason why is no matter what, is like changed and whatnot, it's hard to, make every, player happy, which I mean, that's just, part of life. But I I don't really know like I guess the correct answer. I'm a firm believer in I don't I personally don't think DBD can ever be, balanced because one, it's a very, subjective issue. And then two, it's just one of those things if there is, a big change and whatnot, you're gonna make, one side, not happy and then the other side, happy and vice versa, where it's just an absolute mess at times. And DBD kind of has this thing where, not all the time, but if one side is clearly not happy, whether it's survivor or killer, as weird as it sounds, I feel that the balancing goes in the complete opposite direction, where you know it's not even really balanced anymore. It's just either survivor sided or killer sided for like a patch or two. I don't know, maybe that's just, I guess, like, my take on it. I mean, again, you might think totally different than me. But I do think that DBD itself is actually very hard to... It's very hard to balance just because, one, like I was saying, it's very subjective. And then two, it's just, no matter which way it goes, you know, not everyone's going to be happy, and you always kind of have this, I don't know, like the best way I can describe it, it's almost like a constant like tug of war almost, if that makes sense, where it's like there's really no middle ground. And I just feel like that it kind of varies, like, patch by patch, where it's like, one patch it's survivor, sided, and then like the next it's like, killer sided, like so on and so forth. I don't know. I find it very hard, or like at least in theory, for DBD to ever be, I guess, truly balanced, because like I was saying again, like everyone's gonna be different. Because I mean, I'm sure that some people think like right now, like the game is very balanced or imbalanced, like so on and so forth, because everyone's different. But that's kind of I guess like my thought process on it, or like kind of like what I guess that's how I think about DBD, where it kind of goes in waves, where it's like there's like a survivor patch and then there's like a killer patch. To be fair to DBD, I'm sure it's actually obviously going to be very hard to, always balance stuff. And, yes, like especially with like perks, killer powers, like survivors, I could that would honestly be that would be a very hard job. Honestly, I don't know if I would enjoy it. And like I know that there's a lot of stuff that I really didn't cover in terms of, like the killer's powers, like so on and so forth. Maybe one day we'll kind of revisit it. But I just kind of wanted to, I guess, more so go over like my thoughts, I guess, in terms of like balancing and kind of, where it's at, I suppose, and kind of, you know how it can be very hard to balance, Dead by Daylight, just because, one, there's so many perks, there's different killers, different survivors, like so on and so forth. It's just a never ending, tug of war, kind of like what I was saying earlier. Alright guys, we have reached the end of the video, but thank you guys so much for coming out. It means the absolute world to me, but if you are brand new, please go and hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate it. And also, let me know if you agree or disagree with me. Like I said, I know that there were, many topics that I didn't come over because this was just just off the cuff. But let me know if you guys agree or disagree. Let me know if there's anything that you think. But thank you guys once again for coming out. But I do hope that you have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Have a good one.